Hello, everyone. My name is Vernice, and this is my podcast, Speak Up. I hope you guys are all having an amazing week so far. April just flew by. For those of you that don't know, the mission statement for this podcast is we'll use our voices to motivate people to overcome life's challenges through self-love and respect. So this is the place for self-love and respect. Y'all, I am so excited for today's episode. I have a very wonderful guest. I've been so excited to interview her. Y'all give it up for 93.5 on-air personality Ms. Corrie Renee. Hey!
Can we talk about this intro real quick?
Girl.
I got me a candle too, honey.
Light a candle.
Hey, let's set the tone and the vibes here. Boom, boom. We in this room. How are you?
I'm great. I'm very great. Literally, we do a nice early morning recording. So
right. No, okay. For setting the tone. I love this.
I love that. Let me do your welcome. Yes, in here. So, tell us about yourself, girl. Tell us about yourself.
Well, my name is Miss Corrie Renee, born and raised in Los Angeles, California, West Up. How are we doing? And I mean, I just am a girl from the west side of town that just had a dream to be in radio, and I did what I thought I could do to get it done, and it seemed to have worked out.
That's big. So, like, what got you in the media? Like, what woke you up one day and was like, you know what? I want to really pursue this.
Right. So the first time I felt like it was going to be something that was a passion of mine was when I was in high school. Shout out to Uni High. If you know, you know. And we were like in the quad area. And at that time, it was 92.3 The Beat. And they came and with the big trucks, and they had all the swag, and they had this DJ, and you could hear the music from like a mile away. And we were like, what's going on? So we all migrated down there. And shout out to Pee Wee. I'm not sure where he is right now, but he was like one of the bigger DJs that around that era, Pee Wee. And he was like just doing his thing. And I just saw how everybody gravitated towards him and just what it did as far as being an impact for people's spirit. And I was like, oh, I think he's onto something. I want to try to do that. And it's been stuck with me ever since.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Shout out and shout out to you for betting on yourself and going forward with it. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that because it just shows like, listen to that spark. You know, when you have a spark to do something, go after it. You never know what's going to happen.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it was so much of a spark that it was a little bit annoying because it didn't go away. And it got to the point where like, I just like life was like lifing. It wasn't something that came for me just like right away. It took years before I could even figure out how was I going to make this happen, and years of sitting on it, not doing anything because I didn't know which way to go, how to get there or whatever. But it's so much of a spark that I was living my life. I done had a son, living my 9 to 5 with my little cubicle, just like I still got one, but at least there's a mic here now. But yeah, and I just was sitting, I was typing away. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this. Okay. If I told myself if I was gonna live paycheck to paycheck, I should at least be doing that towards something that I love. It wouldn't go away. So one day I got up from my cubicle from my call center job, and I said, I'm going back to school full time. And that's how it started.
Oh my goodness. I appreciate your transparency on here too, because, you know, with chasing your dreams, like you said, there's no right time. Sometimes it is like a chaos around you, and it's like, I'm still going to believe in what I believe in and go after it. So,
right.
So, you know, I know you got some platforms, you know, tell us about your media platforms, socially acceptable, and your experience on 93.5 KDAY with Sundays in LA.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So I did end up missing one. So I'll just like, you know, give it all to you. So where I'm at now, right, is a phone booth. I do like call screening for a morning show called the Heidi and Frank Show. It's on 955 KLOS. So that's a classic rock station. So I'm like the only Black woman on a classic rock morning show in LA.
Amazing.
So thank you. That's my foundation. Shout out to Heidi and Frank. 4 years ago today, actually. Today is my 4th year anniversary. That's so crazy.
Wow, okay.
Being with Heidi and Frank, and I just thank them so much for the opportunity. They just needed someone to fill in. Someone wasn't available to be in this position anymore. And mind you, like the Heidi and Frank show is a very tight-knit group. They are like decades in with one another. So to have the opportunity to have come into such an implemented, already solidified space was nerve-wracking, but very, very, very just influential. So I owe a lot to them as far as anything that I've been able to do today. That then translates to 935 KDAY. What up? Shout out to Sundays in LA.
Yes.
There on my own from 2 to 6 p.m. I started with KDAY. So like Morello Media is a group. Like we have a cluster of radio stations, Power 106, shout out, Cali 939, KLOS, and KDAY. So I've been a part of the actual group for 7-8 years. So just, it's what started out as an internship. You know, I never left. I was like, you guys must have me like completely confused if you think that after all this time I've been able to penetrate this space, I'm only going to be here for a summer. So I parlayed that into what we're doing now. And then just to, you know, get out there as far as the content space, the podcast space, I did what, you know, all of us do as creatives. We try to find different lanes to make sure we hit in every corner.
So, you know, I know, look, being on the radio, you're around music, all that. So like, what made you first fall in love with music?
It was absolutely at school, at high school, hearing it, you know, it's that break between like making sure we're trying to do what we can to get our education and, you know, be this great entity. But then like to be able to hear something that feels like home, that feels familiar with something that is extracurricular, just to be able to like take a moment. That's what music is for me. So I've been gravitated towards it ever since.
Oh my, I love music. I have to hear music literally every day.
It heals. Like it's not a game when it comes to music. I know there's plenty of, I'm sure like there's songs that you would hear that take you all the way back to a memory, you know, and that's the power that music holds. And that's why I'm just so, you know, honored to be of any part in its creativity.
Any part of it. And it's something that you want to do, I love to do at that. So yes, we're gonna clap for that. I love it. Let's get into tonight's episode. Let's get into the AXO question of the day. So tonight's episode is titled Proud of the Journey. So we're going to be talking about the importance of making yourself proud and not being ashamed of your journey. I think this is just big because going off what you said, like in the beginning, how when you first went after your dreams, things weren't like all the way together, but you still went for it. And it's like, I think we need to be proud of even those moments and even having the strength to go after what we want, even during those times. So you guys out there listening, please comment. I'm going to ask the AXO question today. Please comment your answer. Always go back and read the comments. I'm going to answer the question first and I'm going to pass it to you, girly. So the AXO question of the day is, what's something that you are proud of yourself for? Oh, you know, I think something I'm proud of myself for is, I have the word tatted on me, is my resiliency. I think even though if I'm going through challenges, things like that, I always find a way to bounce back up and still clap for others, even when my light is not all the way on. And I really admire that about myself because it takes a lot of strength, like to still show love in spaces and stuff, especially when you have your own battles going on, but you still want to show up for others and still show that love. So that's one thing I'm proud of myself for, because everyone that knows me personally, 2024, early 2025 has been crazy for me. But you know what? I still keeping my head up during this time. So what about you, girly? What are you proud of yourself for?
Ooh, it's so crazy that you asked that, just because like I you can't see this because I'm chocolate, but I'm blushing right now. So it's hard for me to like talk about myself in that dynamic, but for the conversation, I would say I think I'm proud of being the change that I want to see, as it relates to just radio and, you know, being from LA. You know, specifically, people think that, oh, because you're LA native, like you supposed to already have been on. No, that is not the case. And that is not the trajectory that, you know, is set forth. So if anything, we have to work twice as hard because of those, you know, stereotypes and of those preconceived notions. Like we out here thinking it just like everyone else. So I'm just really proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that there's been so many obstacles I've been able to overcome, not even knowing how, when, why, just knowing that I'm keeping my faith in God and letting everything, fall into place. So I would say that.
Yes, I love it. I love that you mentioned faith in God, because I feel like, even I saw a post and it said, even through the storm, God shows up.
Yes.
And I love that, because she was talking about how we focus so much on the end of the tunnel, like, oh, that's the glory. But no, the glory is even the umbrella we got when it's raining on us. So yes to that. I'm gonna take that. Yes. So, and I remember we had a discussion when I was first asking you to come on the show. We were in person. I don't know if you remember, but I was like, basically like, yeah, I would love you to come on. You were like, wow, it would be great to tell my story. So I love that I can have you on here to like see this part of you. So this is amazing.
I know, me too. I'm like,
I'll pay attention.
I feel like this is all new to me. So thank you for wanting me to even tell my story. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, girl, I appreciate you being on here. I love opening up, but I love seeing everybody open up and everything. So, I don't want to say this to y'all. When you focus on making yourself proud, you stay true to what you want out of life. Don't get me wrong. I know in life we want to make our parents proud. We want to make our siblings proud, our kids proud, people in our lives. But sometimes, have y'all ever been stuck, like kind of trying to make everybody else proud? You're kind of forgetting what your dreams and stuff is. I'm gonna be real. There's people that when I first told them I wanted to start a podcast, they're like, "Oh, that would fit you," but it's like, "Oh, but what about they had all these different deteriors? Well, is he gonna do this? Is he gonna do? Are you sure you want to do that?" And you really like something when even when it gets hard, you still going at it. You still feel good about it,
right?
And you relate. So you feel like even on your hard days, right? You still like being behind that microphone.
Yeah, like that. Honestly, like that's what keeps me outside of my son. I have a 14-year-old son. I'm a single mom. Shout out to us. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, strongest individuals in planet Earth. But yeah, outside of my son, like my passion is what drives me. And I think that, when it comes to everyone else that's important in your life, you have to sometimes block out the noise.
Yes.
So when, you have your friends or your family that you're telling your dreams to, and they may not have a full grasp or understanding of what you're talking about, that may be because they may not be the people you need to discuss it with. Your journey, your spark, your passion is yours. So I think that's where the term tunnel vision comes in, to where like you just know what you need to do, and let's like go ahead and get to it. And we love our loved ones. Like, let's not get it twisted.
They mean no harm sometimes.
I know. Especially like my mom. Like, I know she's gonna be so mad about this, but my mom is my everything, and she is the reason why I've been able to get to this point. At the same time, our moms and our parents, they're just like, well, you went to college, like, don't you want to get like a degree in something else so that you can continue to make good money and like the whole stability factor. As creatives, like that's the complete opposite of what we face every day. So of course, like our loved ones are going to be concerned, but the fire that's within like really supersedes it all. And you got to stay true. You have to stay true as a creative. It's really difficult, but just think about the times that like you're going to be able to make it, and it will happen.
That's so true. I feel like we're so programmed to play it safe, to play by the rules and stay in this one lane. And it's like, honestly, the people who did it big in life took that risk and did it big. So,
right.
You got to take it. So I love that. And I want to say this to y'all, just a reminder, making yourself proud doesn't just mean the big accomplishments. I did a post the other day saying the baby steps matter too. And it's like, you got to clap for those little things actually make the accomplishment. If you think about it. And
absolutely. They all turn into this, what you're going for. Like, I lost 2 pounds.
Yeah.
You watch out. Summertime. I will get in a monokini. Okay. You will see something.
Yes. Just
it's gonna happen
that way. Like, I want to see the cup half full. I have to, because I feel like that'll keep you motivated even when it gets hard.
It's your fuel for sure.
So I have a question. So what's your favorite way to reward yourself when you accomplish a personal goal?
Oh, I like that question.
Yeah.
For myself, I go places. I'm a social butterfly. So if there's any time like there's a new restaurant or a different like maybe clothes or something like that, just something like to show like you earned this. You know what I'm saying? I'll go out, I'll have a good time, like as we all like to do. We outside. I think those things are important because at the end of the day, you got to keep your why in the middle of it all. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you're not doing it for your purpose, then why are we doing it? So I think making sure that we, like you said, celebrate all of the small wins that get us to the next achievement, and patting ourselves on the back. Like it's important. I know when we're in the journey, sometimes because we are with our head down and we're just working, I've fallen victim to this too. Like I don't always give myself as much grace as I should, and tell myself like, Corey, regardless of what you may be facing or what you have had to overcome, you're still doing an amazing job, and you deserve to be rewarded. You deserve to go out on this rooftop. You deserve to have a good ice. You deserve to get the appetizer as well as the dessert. You know what I'm saying? So like all of it matters for sure.
I thank you. I needed to hear that because sometimes I could be super hard on myself. And my best friend always says this. Sometimes we got to treat ourselves like our friend that we see hurting. It's like we got to give ourselves a hug sometimes and know, like, just like you give your friend grace if something happened to them, same thing with yourself. So preach that. And I also too, I really believe too, as a Black woman, we go through that a lot, like feeling like we always got to be tough, strong, or like can't show like, you know what, I need to just woo right now, and it takes over.
Yes. And honestly though, like I'm not afraid to say I'm tired. I know that's very, very controversial. Like it's people don't like to, like, what do you mean you're tired? You can't be tired. You're a beautiful black woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what does that mean? Like, so I can't feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I'm going to do my best to rise to the occasion, but at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And I feel like there's power in your transparency. There's power in your vulnerability, because once you see it and you identify it for what it is, you can now push through. So.
Yes, acknowledgement starts there.
Yeah.
Well said. You guys, it is now time for the tweet up segment. Y'all know how to be on Twitter.
Right.
Tweeted this week that goes with today's episode is chapters in your journey can inspire others. So this is big because you don't know who really needs to hear your story. I think sometimes we're looking at our own story, and because it's not perfect, or because, you started something and it goes the way you wanted instantly, we kind of become a little ashamed, like, well, I kind of had to go through all this, But honestly, that's the reality people need. I can't tell you how many people's stories I've heard, and it pushed me. Like, even hearing you right now, what you just opened up about, that's pushing me as being a person in media and things like that. So it's like I'm a firm believer in you can learn from anybody, whether older than you, younger than you, whatever. Everyone has something to show you, if that makes sense.
I agree. And I think that, that's, what distinguishes us from like anything or anyone else. Like, shout out to Nick, because I stay motivated from an interview, a song, anything to keep going. And I know one of the things that he said was the only thing that separated him from everybody else that goes through it is that he didn't give up. So he went through every emotion. We're going to go through every emotion. There's nothing sweet that's going to always happen. Like, of course, we have our highlight reels, which is Instagram, Twitter, everything else, but yeah, it goes there quite often. So like, we need to be, more transparent. And I think if we hone in on that, and as well as probably be a little less judgmental so that people can feel comfortable enough to open up and have these conversations, we'll all be the better for it.
All of us. And then I feel like even when you are opening up about, your mistakes and things like that, people, I feel like if we were more helping, we could help that person, like, hey, this is a good way this could happen. We all have some type of knowledge we hold. So,
absolutely.
I love that. And yeah, shout out to Nipsey too. I got his quote tatted on me. I got the one I got is on a mission, your worst enemy, idle time. That's the one that got me through college. Okay. And like yeah, so that's big.
That's real big, okay?
We gotta keep pushing. But sometimes you just need those reminders, like those quotes, like just to keep you in tune with things are going on. So, I think it's important too to give yourself grace for the mistakes on your journey. We just talked about grace, and mistakes are a part of life. God don't even want us to be perfect. So why are we getting on ourselves for every little mistake that we do? This is a firm thing for me. Mistakes are invitations to grow. Like, okay, you make this. I think it's actually winnings in those mistakes and challenges because you get better when you do it again.
1,000%, 1,000%. And it's so fun. It's so funny you said that because I just, I did a hosting like not too long ago. And, I'm very giddy. Yeah, I'm very bubbly. Like, it really doesn't matter which type of I'm in different environments. One morning I'm in a rock environment, the next morning I'm in a classic hip hop environment. So like when I'm doing my thing and stuff like that, sometimes, it takes people a little bit to kind of like warm up to my energy. So I had finished a hosting gig and someone like DM'd me and texted me and was like, Corey, you did such a good job on that hosting. And, even in times where, the crowd may have like thought it was a little different, like your energy was a little different, or, it got like, she used the word awkward. And I was like, okay. And she was like, oh, I just want you to know, like, that's so dope. And I think like the way you took that moment and turned it into like light every single time, like, it's like almost like an art form. And I think, and I appreciated her saying that, but I think more so and more importantly is that in those times and in those moments in life, because that's all life is, it's just a journey, a trial and error, and then how we bounce back from it. So I took that to just say, like, that's just me, like you said, being graceful, like, and understanding, like, this is not gonna define me. Like, this is not the end all be all just because, like, there's dead air. That's a term used in radio where like it's just quiet. It's like that doesn't determine anything. Like you just determine and keep moving and keep it growing and keep a smile on your face. And at the end of it all, like it's like we're human beings. We're just exchanging and having experiences. So that's always a plus. That's always going to be a win.
I love that. It just takes all this heavy pressure off of ourselves, that doesn't need to be there. So that's a look. And them moments happen all the time. I feel like how many of us been to events and we've seen it? And if the person has that energy, they know how to just bounce back from it and just keep the show rolling. So
yeah. I do my best not to take myself too serious. Because when you take yourself too seriously, that's when like you get in your head, and I'm good for that too. I'm good for being in my head, like, oh my God, did I do okay? Like, oh my gosh, there's so many people here. Like, I don't know if I'm like all of the things. So you just do your best and
keep it pushing. So, in your 93.5 KDAY career, you get opportunities to get to know artists. So whose story inspired you the most so far?
Oh, there's someone. Like, my gosh. Definitely E40, higher journey is definitely very powerful. If we want to keep it in-house, like grassrooted, DJ Quick is really, I feel like his journey is still, ongoing, and he's still evolving into like the creative that he truly is and wants the world to know about. Like Snoop, I mean, like what are we really talking about? He's like, he just got Time 100's like most influential entity in the world. You know what I'm saying? And these are all revolutionaries. I like to call them legacy artists that we honor all the time on 935 KDAY. And, they started with 935 KDAY. Snoop started with 935 KDAY. Dre did. Tupac, like they all walked the halls and popped microphones, So all of them, all of their stories definitely is influential to me.
That's amazing. Look, and it's just like more nuggets after nuggets being dropped on you. I love that. Great answers, by the way. Woo. You guys, it is now time for the Life Up segment. So the life up is when I take the topic and I relate it to a problem in today's world and we just kind of think of a solution. So tonight's life up is focusing only on making others people proud and not yourself. So seeking outside validation, which we kind of discussed, not being confident in our own decisions and intuition, and being embarrassed by challenges. So these are really big ones. I know we already talked about like not really making yourself proud, but that outside validation, I think that goes with these social media days that we're in. We're so focused, it's easy to get on that social media and be focused on everybody else and, what are these people going to think, and not like kind of tapping into ourselves and, not being confident in our own intuition and decisions. Don't get me wrong. Like you said, our parents can have advice for us, certain people, but sometimes you got the answers within. Like sometimes God is speaking directly in your ear, and it's like, I got to kind of go with what that is saying.
Absolutely. Because if not, then you're running someone else's race. Mm-hmm. And that is always going to put you in a position to where you're turning, yielding, stopping when you don't need to. Like, you really have to come from within and say to yourself, like, what is it that I want the world to know about me, or about this, or about the passion that, I can't get out of my head? And then take that and then start to determine, like, what is this going to look like for me? Like, at the end of it all, like, if you're so busy looking to make sure you're keeping up with the Joneses, nothing's going to be fluid, and nothing's going to be like truly authentic to what really makes you happy and important. So, I think that, you should just really like do your best. For me, I'll use like makeup as an example. So, shout out to all my friends that make me feel like I have a good eye for makeup. Okay. But the way that even happened was because I was just like, dang, I want to learn how to do my makeup, but I don't know how to do it. And at that time, I definitely couldn't pay for it. So I was like, I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to just like look, and I'm going to type in makeup for beginners and see where this takes me. And that's how I learned how to do my makeup. Like, everything you have is really within you. All it takes is a resource, a tool, and learning how to navigate it to the best of your ability.
And then put your own little spice on it, like you said.
Okay. That's what's going to set you apart from everyone else. And your tribe, your audience, they're going to find you. They're going to gravitate towards you. So you don't have to like, pick from this person's content or pick from that person's content. Do what is what's passionate for you, what you think is important. Mm-hmm. Understand how to make that look and digestible to the people. And whether you have 2 likes, whether you have 20,000, whether you have 1 view, whether you have over 10K views, it's gonna just, as long as it resonates with you, it's gonna resonate to the people it's supposed to be meant for.
That's the line right there. Yes. Thank you for sharing. That was a beautiful answer. So actually, I have a question. So has there been a time in your career where or life, you can use life for example too, where you had to trust your own tuition and zone out other people's opinions on what you should do? If so, how did you pivot through it?
Yep. Family and friends.
Back to our answer.
Back to family and friends. There was even like people, and it's not, I don't want it to make it seem like it's a negative thing, because it's not, because, everybody that's in your tribe has your best interests at heart. But when people can't see past what they feel is, attainable, what they feel is reachable, it's stifling. So like, for me, I had to really just block out. I had to just, okay, when in doubt, smile and nod. Okay, I'm like, yes, no problem. But I had to let it go in one ear and out the other. And, some friends got left, they served their season in my life at that time. Especially during the times where you get excited about something and you're like, oh, I can't wait to tell my friend this about what's going on. Mm-hmm. And like the response that you get may not be the response that you was expecting. Like things and spirits like that, I had to identify and be like, you know what, I'm gonna keep going and we'll see where it goes. And I ended up looking to my right, looking to my left, and it was just me. So I think that the way I pivoted was not letting it like get to me. Because, like there's times in the journey where it's just you. Yeah. And feel lonely. It can feel like, dang, like, am I going the right way? Because there's nobody here to tell me if I am. Yeah. Other than the Lord, which is why I'm like, I always look up and I'll be all right. But yeah, and you just pivot and you just make sure like you keep your why in front of your mind at all times and just keep it moving. And it works itself out.
Girl, yes. Like you on here inspiring me. Look.
I
know somebody listening gonna need this. Thank you, girl. Look, yes. That was beautiful. And y'all to go with the life up, how do we fix this? Tap in with yourself, like you were just mentioning. Be kind to you and be kind to yourself during the challenges and let go of the outside validation. I think those are just good solutions to that. Yeah. So being in radio and media, what's a piece of networking advice that helps you in your career?
There's no task too small. No task too small. I feel like, and I hope nobody come for me in the comments, but I feel like I am the last of an era of I am of service in any degree. Like, I don't feel like me making sure like your cup is filled or you need pencils or you need to make sure like someone downstairs gets upstairs. So I'm the one texting, making sure like it gets ran smoothly. Like, I don't think that I'm above anything. Whereas 1 minute I'm doing that, the next minute I'm on stage with DJ Quick or I'm on stage with this person or that person. And I think it's because of the humility. You have to remain humble. I think that's another really, really important part of my journey. You come across a lot of different spirits. You come across a lot of different personalities. And as long as you stay centered as much as possible, nothing else around you is going to dictate the next steps. So, yeah, I think that's
And girl, I really appreciate the answer because like I feel like it's back to the basics. Just being a good human being, kind, loving, being of service. And I think that just beautiful. Like our spirit speaks first. So that was one of my favorite answers to that question.
Yes, thank you. I was just talk to me nice. You won't get the world from me. Like, I promise.
With anything you're doing in life, Oh my goodness. Girl, yeah, look, y'all, she on here dropping gems. I hope y'all taking notes. It is now time for the drink up segment. So if you're out there listening, please pull out some water and drink some water. And I got a water fact for today. So today's water fact is water can help you feel happier. Dehydration can affect your mood and make you feel sad, grumpy, and confused. So stay hydrated and feel energized by drinking the recommended amount of water, typically 8 glasses a day. Water stimulates the flow of nutrients and hormones that release those feel-good endorphins to make you feel happy, according to the Unity Point Health. So drink y'all water. Let's get this mood boosted, feeling good. It's getting warm. Look, she got her water too. Look, we popping it. So back to the episode. What is a piece of advice you would give to a person looking to get into radio in particular?
Oh, a good piece of advice. Consistency.
Love that.
Whatever it is that you're doing, it's really good, especially now with radio being not the only platform, not the only to seen, understood, heard, any of those things. Don't be afraid to start on your own. This was my own lesson because, I'm in radio, but then it's like, here I am with a podcast as well. And I'm starting from the beginning phases, of it. And it's like, I'm a little nervous. I don't know if I want to do that, but I'm doing my best to remain consistent. And, as it keeps going, it keeps growing. So definitely remain consistent. I would say for sure, be fearless. The way I was able to penetrate this space was because I was just transparent with everybody that I spoke to about my dream. Like, I didn't have anything to lose at that point. So once I made it, I transferred. So once I left my 9 to 5, I went back to school full time and I went to Cal State Long Beach, but by way of LA Southwest College. So I got my AA at LA Southwest and then I transferred over to Cal State Long Beach. And from there, it was on the grand tour. And we was walking and I saw that there was a radio station on campus. And I was like, boom, that is where this is it. Like, this is my way in. So I talked to anybody I needed to talk, everybody I needed to talk to get a spot on K Beach Radio. That's what it was called at the time. And once I got on, I was like, what do I do now? So I just started to reach out to every influential on-air personality I knew that I grew up listening to, and I hit them. I would go in the link in the bio. I was not back then, like, you know, people say it now, link in bio, like in their captions and things like that. But before that time, I was researching, I was investigating. I'm like, how can I get hold of this person? But sure enough, people were leaving their emails and stuff on their Instagram pages. So I reached out to everybody. Shout out to Chuck Dizzle.
Yeah,
I reached out to him, found out that he had the same pathway and he felt like it was an obligation. Thank you. Even though it wasn't, but he did it, you know, to pay it forward and to come on my show. Shout out to DJ Head. He did the same thing. He came on my show. And the way I penetrated this space specifically, and I always have to give her flowers, is Yessie Ortiz. She was the one who came to my show, and I told them all, I said, listen, I am just a college student that has her radio station, and I really would just like you to come to talk about your journey. Like, please. And they were like, yes. And, you know, Yessie specifically at the end of the show, she was like, Corey, I want you to know something. And I was like, what? This is so great. And I'm all like geeked and stuff. I'm like, what's up, girl? And she was like, not many people have done what you just did. Like, I wish that there were more people that would have reached out and just, you know, been transparent about what they needed and things like that. So just because I feel so great about this day and everything that you are about to do, I'd like to get you an internship with Power 106 and 935 KDAY. And I was like, what? And of course the cheers fell, and you know, here we are. So I'm going to always give Yessie the Ortiz her flowers.
That is so amazing. And, you know, I love your networking tip too, because it's old school. Opening your mouth, doing the research, talking to people, being genuine. Like back in the day before social media, that's what people had to do. You know what I'm saying? And I think if we just get back to basics, it's the best. And I feel you on like people, you know, wanting to come on and pay it forward and like share more knowledge. I feel like, you know, knowledge should just be shared. So shout out to all those amazing platforms who came and just shared that. Like I actually had Chuck Dizzle on some time ago. He dropped some nuggets, but I think it's beautiful when people reach a certain level and they're able to just give back and like teach others too, you know, show that pathway and that blueprint.
Absolutely.
Girl, yes. You doing it now too. So look, see how it goes full circle?
Absolutely.
Amazing story. But yeah, y'all, it is now time for the show up segment. So if you're out there listening, please comment. How did you show up for yourself this week? I'm going to go ahead and answer. So how did I show up for myself this week? I showed up for myself this week. You know what? I started working on my eating, like craving healthier meals and just putting it together, like being more cautious of what I'm putting into my body and prioritizing rest and not feeling guilty for it. So that's how I showed up for myself this week. How did you show up for yourself this week so far?
Wow. I would say definitely giving myself grace. You know, I was like tired the first 2 days and I was like, oh my gosh. But I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. So today, specifically how I showed up for myself was I woke up a little earlier. I put on my makeup before I got here because normally I'll put it up while I'm here because I get very early mornings. I have to be here at 5 to 5:30 in the morning each day. But I was like, no, I'm just going to make sure and take that extra time for myself so that I could feel good and make sure that I show up for everybody else.
And that's what you did. Okay, great answer. It is now time for the wrap-up segment. Here's the wrap-up segment. So how does this relate to self-love? Self-love is love yourself enough to be proud of yourself on the So how do you practice self-love?
I practice self-love by basically saying it, like saying the words, like girl, you doing a good job. Girl, you doing a good job. Like I have to like get that and give that to myself. So like, I know like, you know what, be your own cheerleader. You know, sometimes like it's important to make sure that you do that. And as far as self-love, like I like to, what I've learned is like, you know, taking more time, like just being at home. Like I get that. Yeah, like, cause you know, in this journey, like your next move is your best move, and most of the time that move is outside. So like I've just been going and going and going, and like I've been consistent and intentional on making sure like I am not in this building for 2 days out of the weekend. For years I was doing 6-day work weeks and up. So I showed up for myself that way by making it intentional, that I'm more at home, more with my son, more doing things that like center me. I enjoy like deep cleaning. You know, I like making sure like the house is clean, turning on some music. I'll do that a little bit longer. I think that's a part of my self-love, and, you know, just making sure like I'm not spinning my wheels.
I like that. I mean, yeah, staying home is a big one, and just like having your space just right. That's the best.
Yes, it felt real good. I'm like, I did this.
You're like, I can do this. And this is the last question, a question I love to ask all my guests. But what do you want to be remembered for?
Whoa, I didn't see. I would like to be remembered for wanting to make sure that someone is felt, heard, and appreciated.
Oh.
Let me be clear, I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I know for a fact that I have a good heart, and I do my best, and I do my best to do right by others. And because we all have our stories and we all have our challenges. So my hope is that, you know, I leave an impression that I did my best to make someone else feel good.
Yes, and you already doing that. I just want to say that. And remember, you guys, be your biggest supporter, give yourself flowers, and your journey makes you who you are. Okay?
Right.
That's all a part of it. I appreciate y'all tapping into this amazing episode. Miss Corrie Renee, I appreciate you coming on. This was an amazing interview, getting to know you more and your story. This was great.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I was like, you know, I was excited, but I was also kind of like, I don't know what to expect. I'm a little nervous, but you made this very, very fun. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, girl. And before we go, where can you shout your information out? Where can people find you and follow your platforms?
Yes, you can definitely follow me at Miss Corrie Renee on Instagram. Socially acceptable, socially with an X. Right, on Instagram at 935 KDAY, of course, the Heidi and Frank Show, and at KLOS 955.
There we go. Make sure y'all tap in. I love you guys. Make sure y'all follow SpeakUpJV at SpeakUpJV. My personal is at Vernisa. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, everything. SpeakUpJV is around every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. We'll be back next week with another cool episode. Take care, girl. Take care, everyone. Y'all have a great week. Bye.